Good evening. Tempe Union continues to maintain social distancing for the safety of our community. The open meeting law permits a public body to hold a remote meeting through technological means and implement procedures designed to safeguard the public's access to the meeting. We are streaming this meeting live on the district's YouTube channel. I call this meeting to order. It is 6:00 p.m. Let the record show that we have 4 board members present. And may I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So move.
May I have a second?
I second.
Thank you so much. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion passes 4-0. Thank you so much. Next, does any board member want to go into executive session or review the minutes from executive session? Hearing none, seeing none, we will go on to our study session. Dr. Mendenville?
Thank you, President Garcia, members of the board and executive team present, and those who are viewing this evening from home. We appreciate your attendance, and we're excited today to share the recommendations for our budget for the 21-22 school year, and that have been, there's a process that we go through that Mrs. Muellmans will share a little bit about with our Budget Advisory Committee. What I am most proud of is that the committee themselves came to consensus with these recommendations, and I think they're solid, they're good, and we're in such a fortunate situation financially and in many other ways in the district where we have revenue where we can do some kind and good things for all of our employees, so everyone benefits. And so that doesn't always happen, so I think it's noteworthy to mention. So I'm going to pass it off to Mrs. Muellmans. One last thing too, I want to just comment on the budget review time that we have afforded and allotted during our board meetings since we started in January. I think we started including bits and pieces and some formal presentations to tell the story of how we get to the recommendation that you're going to see today. And I like that process. We'll continue to do that. It kind of fills in the pieces and gaps and questions that anyone may have. So anyway, I'm thankful for our process, and Mrs. Muellmans, take it away.
Thank you, Dr. Mendenville, President Garcia, members of the board, executive team, and community. It is my honor to be here tonight to present the Budget Advisory Committee's 2021-22 budget recommendations. I'm going to start off talking just a little bit about the process and our purpose. The Budget Advisory Committee ensures a transparent process for budget development, which involves representation from our community, from employee associations and staff members not represented by associations. This team acts independently in advising administration, the superintendent, before any budget recommendations are made to the governing board. And so our recommendation tonight is to the superintendent in regards to what we feel should be used with the revenue that is available. The committee, we have 16 total members. So we have 2 community members, 4 certified staff members, 4 classified staff members, 2 site administrators, and 4 district office administrators. And their names and their positions are listed on the sheet. I won't go through each one of them, but that's the makeup of the group. We had a total of 9 meetings starting in November, where we do a lot of, the initial meetings are more educational for the new representatives that sit on the committee. And then our last meeting was May 11th. This year, most of our meetings were virtual, but fortunately our last several were in person, and what a difference that made to where we could actually have a lot of conversation and discussion about our recommendations before they were presented tonight. So let's go through and talk a little bit about the projected revenue. This is information that you have seen before, but we'll go through it again. The base support level change, which is the inflation that's coming to us, along with the money that you remember that the governor used last year for the classroom site fund to give the 20% raise to the teachers. That total for our district is just a little bit over 1.5 million, and that's coming into our M&O maintenance and operation fund. Our total weighted student account change was a drop in ADM, and that accounted for $3.9 million in the negative. Our teacher experience index change, we're one of the few districts that has a very high teacher experience index because we have a lot of teachers that are at the top end of our salary schedule. That experience index just changed a really minute amount, it went down, but that created a reduction of $353,000. Our M&O override, those, you will remember that was something that we staggered in the last 5% when it was approved by our voters. And so we are going into the top 15% next fiscal year. And so we are maxing that out, and going from 14% to 15% gives us an additional almost $460,000. We had the discussion in regards to how we were realigning our classroom teachers to governing board policy, and that created a reduction of 28.6 FTEs. That was a total for almost 2.5 million, and fortunately most of those were taken by vacancies. We also had the discussion in regards to moving the compadre students over to Marcos, and because of that relocation, that was a reduction of 27.5 total FTEs. That include classified, administrative, and certified, and that was just a little over 1.3 million savings. At the district office, there was a reduction of 4 total FTEs. Some of those were funded of funds outside of M&O, but for the savings that maintenance and operation is getting from those 4 FTEs is $191,000. Then last year we gave a stipend to our classified employees for the ones that had low hourly rates. That was a total of $344,000. And so that was a one-time stipend, and so that capacity was available to come into this year's budget, so then we can use it for M&O expenditures, and so we've included that. The classroom site fund changed, the ongoing money that we are receiving regards to the sales tax revenue that comes into the classroom site fund is just under $1 million. And then the one-time funding that was created due to the fact that the amount that the Joint Legislative Budget Committee estimated that the sales tax revenue was going to go down during the pandemic. It did not go down to what they projected, and so the one-time money that was raised through the sales tax revenue, our portion of that was just over $3 million. So revenue-wise, for the classroom site fund is just over $4 million. For M&O, just under $2 million, for a total of just over $6 million of what the Budget Advisory Committee had to use to make our recommendation. So our budget commitments, these are the commitments that we're either required to do because it's statutorily required, or decisions that have already been made by the governing board. And so the alternative contribution rate for our return to work contract employees, that contribution rate went up slightly to the tune of $400. ASRS contribution, Our employer contribution went from 12.22% to 12.41%, which is also what the employees are going to have to pay. But for the district as a total, it's $137,000 by that change. The expenditures, again, based on the what the governor did in regards to the classroom site fund, using a portion of that money to pay for the raises, and that money now is coming into M&O. The expenditures need to come into M&O, and so that was a total of $590,000. And then our medical insurance, the 2% increase that was approved earlier at a previous board meeting is $190,000 for a total of $917,935. So now let's get into the fun stuff. The salary increase recommendation, this is what we came up with. For our classified salaries, for our classified employees, step increase of $626,000. We want to put 2% onto the salary schedule, which is $421,886. Equity adjustments of $41,257. And then our classified professional exempt will get a step of $73,000. So that's $1,162,474 that is going to go into the salary schedule for our classified employees. That will put our classified employees at the 60th percentile, which was our goal. And we actually are achieving it a year earlier than what we initially thought.
Yes, we are.
So if you look at what we put in last year into our classified salary schedule, which was just over $1.5 million, in 2 years, we put $2.7 million into our classified employees' salary. So that's very, very exciting. So that's our recommendation for the classified. The administrative schedule steps are $140,000. For individuals that are not on a salary schedule, we're budgeting 1%, which is just under $5,000. For our teachers, steps are $689,142, and for our student support schedules, which are like our psychologists, our nurses, our occupational therapists, our physical therapists, that's $58,000. So just total salary increase, we're looking at taking $747,344 out of the classroom site fund, just over $1.3 million out of M&O, for a total of just over $2 million. So our next recommendation is in regards to stipends. So we have certain individuals that are at the top of our salary schedules, and therefore they don't qualify for steps. And so our recommendation here is to give those individuals a $1,000 stipend. So we have 4 individuals that are not teachers or student support staff. And so those 4 individuals for a one-time $1,000 stipend is $4,868. For the teachers and the student support staff, we have 209.8 FTE that are at the top. And so for them to receive a 1,000 stipend, it's $253,491. So then when we were discussing what we were doing, we realized that there are some people that, as they are stepping on the teacher salary schedule, that don't get $1,000. And so we went back and we looked at the teachers and identified the ones that would not get $1,000. So our recommendation is that we will make up to $1,000 with a one-time stipend. So for instance, If the step for a teacher is $800, we're going to give them the step, and then we will give them a $200 stipend so that they're all getting at least $1,000. And so that total to get those individuals up to $1,000 is $27,194. And then we had a discussion about doing something, because our ADM, we lost about 800 ADM this year. And so what could we do to up that ADM and see if we couldn't all as a team try to get our students to come back to our district and make sure that our students stay in school and there so that our ADM goes up. So we came up with the idea of the ADM recovery stipend that would benefit all employees. And so it would be a one-time stipend, and what we're going to do is we're going to look at our ADM that we had this year when we did our budget revision in May was $12,604. So that's going to be our base, and then we're going to look at it next year in May when we do our third budget, our final budget revision that we have to do by May 15th, and compare to see where we're at then. And then based on how much we increase, then it will determine what the stipend will be for all employees across the board. And so we are doing it in stages where if we have to get at least an additional 250 to 299 ADM recovery. If we get into that range, it'll be a $500 stipend for all employees. If we get from 300 to 599, then it's going to be a $1,000 stipend for all employees. And if we can get up by 600 or more, every employee will receive $1,500 stipend. And so what we are budgeting here, the dollar amounts that you see are at the $1,500 range because we have to anticipate that we will reach that. And so what we're going to do is for the teachers and the student support, we're going to take that stipend out of the classroom site fund, which is $1,273,095. And for all the other employees that are not teachers or student support staff, that will come out of M&O's next year's funding when we get funded for our real-time ADM, the increase due to the increase in our ADM. And that we projected at $1,158,780. So for stipends total, we're looking at $1.5 million of that coming out of the classroom site fund, $4,868 of that coming out of the M&O that we're projecting that we will have next year, no matter what. And then our ADM growth money of just under $1.2 million will come out of next year's funding for a total of $2.7 million. So this is just a summary page of the things that we've already just talked about. So you'll see that the budget commitments of the classroom site fund of $252,000, M&O of $665,000 for the total of the $917,935. The salary increase stipends for classroom site fund is $747,344. For M&O, just a little over $1.3 million, for a total of just over $2 million. Stipends, just a little over $1.5 million out of the classroom site fund. M&O, $4,868 for a total of just over, or $1,558,648. So our total projected cost coming out of the classroom site fund is just over $2.5 million. Just under $2 million for M&O, for a total of $4.5 million. So now we'll look at what it is that we're projecting versus the revenue that we're projecting coming in. And so the total revenue, again, is just over $6 million. $4 million of that is in classroom site fund, and just under $2 million is in M&O. The projected cost are $4.5 million. $2.5 million is out of the classroom site fund, and just under $2 million is in M&O. So remaining, we have just over $1.5 million. Most of that is in the classroom site fund. And then we have $10,000 right now left in M&O. And we still have, we want to make one last look at the equity adjustments for the classified and make sure that we've caught everything. And if there needs to be no additional adjustments, that money will just go into our carryover, whatever is left over, which isn't much when you talk about the big numbers we're talking about. The classroom site fund restricted money, what's remaining of the 1.5 is one-time money. We've expended all of the ongoing money with the steps and this, and so the thought process in keeping a balance in the classroom site fund is to make sure that we've got money available to us when we decide what we're going to do with Compadre, with that site that's Compadre, and what we're going to do as far as staffing it. Therefore, by having this one-time money available, we won't have to initially go right into our M&O for next year and start expending that. It will allow us to staff and do any supplies or whatever that we may need to do in order to move forward with what our plans are with that school when that's all determined. 1.5 million seems like a lot of money. That's actually just a little over 17 FTE for teachers. And then again, we're showing on this slide what we're doing, the potential of the ADM growth money that we might need to pay for the stipends for our non-teacher, non-student support staff members. So this slide just goes into a little bit more information regarding the enrollment stipend. It just kind of really shows the range. So our ADM for this year at our budget revision was $12,604. And so it shows the range for what the ADM needs to be in order to get the $500 stipend, for the $1,000 stipend. And if we get our ADM above $13,204, it'll be a $1,500 stipend for all employees. Our plan is that that stipend would be paid in June to all employees if we hit the bars. So this is our recommendation to the superintendent, and as Dr. Mendeville said, it was a consensus recommendation that he accept the Budget Advisory Committee's recommendations. And then just one last bit of information that we normally share at this time is for our certified teachers for the individual performance incentive plan that comes from the classroom site fund allocation. You can see that back in 2017-18, the amount that we gave was just under $3,600. And this year, we will be paying out $4,000 to those staff members that have reached their incentive plan goals.
Thank you so much, Ms. Humans. We really appreciate it. And also thank you so much to the committee for really putting together a great budget that, despite the challenges, puts us in a really great position moving forward as a district. So thank you for all of that. Board members, we'll go into questions now. Who would like to go first and ask questions? Board Member Hodge?
Okay. All right. First off, I want to say thank you. You know, this has been a long time coming. You've done a phenomenal job. Even when I was actually just a budget person on the committee, I've seen you do it for years. First, I don't have any questions. I just want to make a comment. I know that we came to you, two former boards ago, with the scenario of the classified. That was like 2017 when we were really adamant about it. And I just want to thank you for getting to where we're at today, because that last board member that remember that conversation, it was a really tough conversation in 2017 that we had. And I just want to thank you publicly to getting us there, because that was a struggle. It was really hard. And I know that you worked very hard to get there and to get us to that 60%. I thank you, and I thank you for the Budget Committee. I'll let the team, I'm pretty good about this. It's like second knowledge to me, but I'll let them talk. But I wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart to get, I'm just so proud. I feel like I want to cry that we actually got there, because I remember that was a really, really tough time. So thank you.
Thank you, Governing Member Hodge. I think I don't take a lot of credit for that. I think that the superintendent has made it very clear to the Budget Advisory Committee that that was a priority of his. And I will tell you that the committee members were very supportive of the classified employees getting what's being recommended.
I'm going to call all my former board members that were with me at that time and let them know that we hit that 60% mark. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Vice President Barraza.
Good evening. Thanks again, Diane, for a wonderful presentation and for explaining all the little details. It really is beneficial, I think, for the community. The Budget Advisory Committee has done a great job, especially with the challenges that has been presented for the year and the outlook in terms of the demographers' reports and, just in terms of the pandemic. So there's a lot of variables at play. And so I think it's very great that you guys put together such a very innovative, budget, and with some great goals in mind in terms of being able to celebrate everyone in terms of the financial aspect. So I really appreciate the hard work. I really don't have questions. I think I got a good grasp of what you're presenting, and I think it's a really great going forward. I think it's really great to implement this. All I guess I would just ask is for Dr. Mendenville and President Garcia, if maybe we can add the names of the Budget Advisory Committee members to the. Okay, let me see. Is it going to be a part of the record? Is more or less what I'm interested in, just to make sure, not just the presentation. Okay, I just want to make sure that the presentation, the PowerPoint itself is, because I want to make sure that their names are in this, especially in this moment. It's very unique, and so I'd like to celebrate their efforts in that way. So I just want to make sure, that we're good there, and please convey the thanks, for all the hard work. Thank you.
Member Montero.
Thank you. And again, I'll echo what everyone has said before. Thank you so much, Diane. And I also want to thank everyone that was on the committee for all their work for this. It's for all of the challenges that we have faced this year, and to see the position that we are in, I can't thank you enough. The only question that I had was in relation to Compadre and, the staffing and whatnot with what we're going to be doing with it. So you addressed that. So that's really all I had. Just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you. The amazing part is that when we start in January and we're going through this process, and I'm like thinking, oh my gosh, what's this going to end up? And every year when I get the privilege of being up here in front of you and presenting what the committee has done, it really truly just warms my heart to know that we've put through some really good recommendations, and I'm very proud of what we have here tonight. So thank you for recognizing it and appreciating it. So thank you.
Member James.
Yes, it's amazing. And I really also appreciate that we've been able to have these snippets over time. especially as a new board member. It's been very helpful, so thank you for all of that effort. Just a quick question about the budget advisory committee. What does that look like when in the next upcoming year? Do you have a completely new advisory committee? Do you have people come back? How are they selected? What will that look like next year?
The way that it normally works, because we have members that represent TSEA, so they decide who their members are, and then also the members from CTEC. So sometimes there are changes there, and sometimes there are not. We've been very fortunate that we've had one community member on our Budget Advisory Committee since the very start of it, and we did have a change with the other one this year. But I believe she's going to stay with it. She really enjoyed the whole process. And so our hope is that we keep most of our members, because that really allows us to kind of get a jump start versus having to do a lot of educating. Because the budget, unfortunately, for school districts is very complicated. And so it takes a little while for people, that don't deal with it on a daily basis to understand what it is that we're doing. And again, I want to say that the in-person meetings make such a big difference.
Thank you so much. And I will end with 2 points. One, really, recognizing the creative and innovative strategy with the ADM recovery stipend. That, I think, really allows everyone to be empowered to be part of this process. Compliments and rewards it that we're all in this together, we're going to figure it out, and we'll get through it, right? So thank you for such a creative and innovative way of doing that. And then also to piggyback off of Member Hodge with classified. As many know, this is very, very close and near to all of us. Truly really appreciative, because I know we especially this last board, we put a lot of pressure on you all to get to that, right? And I remember I was not satisfied that it was going to take that long, and the fact that turned around and we're actually here a year early is phenomenal, and just speaks volumes about your work and commitment. And there's just pure appreciation. So thank you. I don't have anything else to add unless other board members do. All right, with that, Dr. Mendeville, do you have anything else before I conclude the study session?
Probably just one, and that is that, of course, understanding the appreciation of the committee and the work, but it's also the appreciation that we have a board that, while you may look at it as pushing, but it's the right push, it's the right decisions, and sometimes that's difficult to do, but we realize the benefit, like we are seeing today in this recommendation. So anyway, I also know that Diane and her team, and in the numerous discussions that we have throughout the year about budget, that this is one that can be sustainable if we're not overshooting it. We're not, we're taking care of our folks, but it's one that's responsible and that is sustainable on the salary schedules for all of that, because you're always projecting out when you're looking at budgets, and you need to take care of your organization, what we call Tempe Union High School District, our family. So Diane and the team and the executive team, your input, and governing board members, I just appreciate the support and all the work that we do collectively to realize a fortunate budget recommendation that I'm recommending to the governing board today. So thank you.
No, thank you again. It's just amazing to see all of this work come together when many of our fellow sister districts are struggling. So yeah, just truly grateful. So thank you. With that, I move to end the, oh wait, we don't need that. So we'll reconvene at 7 p.m. y'all. Thank you. Good evening. Tempe Union continues to maintain social distancing for the safety of our community. The open meeting law permits a public body to hold a remote meeting through technological means and implement procedures designed to safeguard the public's access to the meeting. We are streaming this meeting live on the district's YouTube channel. We are reconvening at 7 p.m. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Dr. Mendeville, followed by a moment of silence. This past weekend, Kyrene lost 2 students at Cielo Elementary School, and so today our moment of silence honors them, their family, and the Kyrene community who are mourning this loss. And then finally with the line acknowledgement by Board Member James, we will go from the agenda. Dr. Mendeville.
I pledge to the flag of the United States.
Thank you.
Tempe Union High School District acknowledges that our community of schools is located on the ancestral lands of the Akmal Odom Pima and Peeposh Maricopa indigenous peoples who have inhabited these lands since time immemorial. With this land acknowledgement, the district formally recognizes that the traditional care and keeping of these lands by indigenous peoples allow us to be here today.
Thank you so much, Member James. All right, next item on the agenda is report from Superintendent Dr. Mendeville.
Thank you, President Garcia and Vice President Barraza, members of the board, and our viewing and listening audience. Executive team, if I missed you, sorry. Have some really fun acknowledgements with our students and teachers. And so we're going to start off with the artwork of Marcos Deniza, Junior Sydney Stormont, winner of Valley Metro's 21st Annual Design and Transit Wrap Contest. And, we've got featured up there. Now, isn't that beautiful? Wow. Will be featured on a bus and light rail train for 1 year. Selected from nearly 50 entries submitted by high school students across Maricopa County, Sydney's artwork titled Together We Go reflects her desire to create a design that could bring people together. And boy, we need that more now than ever. Design a Transit Wrap encourages high school students to create artwork that promotes public transit from their own point of view. And since 2016, a combined total of 8 Marcos Deniza students have placed first or second. And that's just incredible. Congratulations to Sydney, and congratulations also goes to Kimberly Nunez, another Marcos Jr. who was awarded second place, and their phenomenal art teacher, Reagan Guzman. So if you're taking the bus, these are going to be easy to find, so you ride those buses only, okay? Our next student recognition is Shayla McKenzie from Mountain Point. Mountain Point senior Shayla McKenzie was recently honored with the CTE Film and TV Student of the Year Award. She also won Best Screenplay at this year's Tempe Union High School District Film Festival a couple weeks ago. During her internship with the district's community relations team, Shayla has played a vital role in the filming of Marcos and Mountain Point promotional videos and streaming governing board meetings, all city award ceremonies, and school performances. I know that our very own Warren Cole has been the mentor and really given her a lot of good experiences for her to grow, and as she takes it on, because she's now been accepted and will be attending the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism at ASU. Boy, that's a mouthful. So, Shayla McKenzie, congratulations. And finally, staff recognition. We had the Tempe Diablos Excellence in Education Award event. It was done virtually for the second year in a row. This is actually a phenomenal event, and I imagine that next year we can have it in person and really live the entire impact of that experience that the Tempe Diablos do each year. But I want to recognize this year's winners of the Tempe Diablos Excellence in Education Awards from Tempe Union. John Sharp, Tempe High School, he received the Class Act Award. Valerie Molina, Margostiniza High School, Inspiration, and she truly is an inspiration for many of us. Shelley Peckins, McClintock High School, is Rising Star. Micah Kristen from McClintock for High Impact in her program. Justine Centeni, Lifetime Achievement from Corona del Sol. Steve Threadgill, Corona del Sol for Leadership. And Talia Remmer Marcos as a Transformational Leader. And Karen Crane from McClintock for Teacher of the Year. So all of our fine educators, it's just, and leaders, it's just a testament to the commitment and dedication that our folks have for our students in our wonderful Tempe Union High School District. So congratulations to all of them. That is my superintendent's report.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mandeville. Next, we have public comment. Do we have any public comment, Dr. Mandeville?
President Garcia, yes, we do. We have one comment, and I'll refer that to Dr. Wilson.
This is the time for the public to comment. Members of the governing board may not discuss items that are not on the agenda. Action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter or scheduling the matter for further consideration and decision at a later date. Public comment concerning a specific agenda item is heard at the time that item is addressed by the governing board. The public meeting notice provides the method by which the public may submit comment and have their comment read into the record. Under Section C of Governing Board Policy BEDH, Public Participation at Governing Board Meetings, when there are 1 to 15 requests to speak, public comment is limited to 3 minutes. One email was received from 1 p.m. Monday until 3 p.m. today. It will be read at this time. This is from Danielle Paulette, a parent at Mountain Point High School. Good evening, Dr. Mandeville and governing board members. Thank you for a wonderful 2020 and 2021 school year. I have a senior with special needs graduating from Mountain Point tomorrow and a freshman ending his year with straight A's. I couldn't be prouder of both of them. As a regular governing board meeting attendee, I'd also like to thank you for holding all of our meetings virtually this year. I urge you to make arrangements to ensure your own safety, the safety of district staff, and of the public beyond involving Purple for Parents at local school board meetings all over the state. Oh, wait, sorry about that. I should have put my reading glasses on, I apologize. Staff of the public beyond mitigation strategies prior to opening meetings back up. There has been a string of violent incidences and harassment involving Purple for Parents at local school board meetings all over the state. Local community members and governing board members should not feel unsafe while participating in and conducting school board meetings. Danielle Paulette.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wilson. Next, we have consent agenda items. May I have a motion to approve consent agenda?
So moved.
Thank you so much. May I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, the ayes have it, and motion passes 5-0. Next, we have board policies. Policy JK, student discipline for first reading. Dr. Mandeville.
Thank you, President Garcia, Vice President Barraza, and members of the board. This is the first reading, and it's on student discipline. A recommendation was made by board Vice President Barraza, and so this is our time to discuss this openly. I've had conversations with each of you as we review this, and this is around the JK policy around student discipline, and much of this is grounded in statute, ARS 15843. We've made some changes, recommendations based on board member Barraza's recommendation. So I'd like for us to just review that, and we also, through the lens of June, Reppy, our wonderful June. We've done some editing for commas and punctuation and that kind of a thing. We don't really refer to students as pupils anymore. The pupils that I have right now are in my eyeball, so. But anyway, so we're making those minor changes. The other one too is when we talk about guardians or parents, we want to be inclusive and refer to our families, because our families look and are very, very different for each household. So that being said, on the third paragraph, where I don't particularly like hearing myself that way either. But anyway, the third paragraph where it says the principal of each school shall ensure that a copy of all rules pertaining to discipline, suspension, and expulsion of students is distributed to the parents, guardians, families of each student at the time the student is enrolled in school. And I'll get to what I'm going to say in just a second, but one of the key pieces is at the time of any disciplinary action. And that is a key indicator there, correct? But I know that there was some question about when we say distributed to the parents, guardians, families of each student at the time the student is enrolled, but a copy given to each student or made available to the student. And so I think there was some question on that. Board Member Daza, do you want to correct me or clarify that so we get it right?
Yes, actually, first off, I want to thank you for, meeting with me and working with me and on this. I really appreciate that, first off, so thank you. Yes, pertaining to when a student is provided the document, my intention would be to have it as parents, guardians, families of each student and the student at the time the student is enrolled. Now, it doesn't have to be enrolled, but at the time of the disciplinary action, I think you nailed it with the emphasis on that portion. So the emphasis being the student provided the information as to what are their expectations and what are their rights under our due process. Now, I do understand, talking to Dr. Wilson, is that we do a due process, and we do have a whole disciplinary model that looks deep into the issue, and I really appreciate that. This just extends the language of the rules pertaining to disciplinary suspension, expulsion, to be handed to the student would be my intention. So if we can include that language, so that way the parents, not only parents, guardians, and families receive it, but that also the student is receiving it.
Okay. So return.
So if, to put in, I guess, context or actually language, it says the expulsion of students is distributed to the parents, guardians, families of each student at the time the student is enrolled in school and is provided to the student at the time of any disciplinary action. Now, I understand that we don't have to, if we're giving it to a student, I think at that point we are also by extension giving it to the parent, and they had already received it, so they have a copy, and that's where I think is what my intention lies, is that the student be provided that information.
That we ensure the student gets it.
Yes. At the point of any disciplinary action, or...
That's the critical part, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. So I guess I just really want to know at this point what everyone thinks of the language and what their opinions are on. This is obviously a first read, so I'm very much open to...
Well, this is the time to have the discussion, absolutely. Thank you, President, or Vice President Barraza.
All right, so what we'll do, board members, is we'll take turns asking questions or recommendations and comments. And I believe I saw Member Montero's hand go up first.
Thank you. I first want to thank Vice President Barraza for bringing this forward. I think coming from a student perspective, I think we're given a lot of information when we're enrolled at school or in the beginning of a school year. We go over what these disciplinary practices are, what that looks like. But I think when we're given so much information, and sometimes, as a student, oh, I'm never going to get to that point. You kind of block it out. So I think it is important that students are able to kind of know what that process looks like, what their rights are. And so my question is, because I kind of want to get some clarification. So if I'm a student facing some sort of disciplinary action, what does that process look like? What information am I given whatever decision is given down pertaining to discipline? What does that look like currently?
Board Member Montero, thank you for the question. I start thinking about offenses, so it can vary. But in any situation involving discipline, a student is going to receive due process, which means they're going to be called in and they'll be interviewed. Most of our schools use an incident report form, so there's the opportunity to write that down. There may be times where a student either refuses or is unable to write at that time, and so the administrator would interview the student and write it down. Then the administrator may, depending on the number of students involved, sometimes it's a singular incident just involving a student and maybe a teacher or a student and a staff member. That's the conversation. Then you pull back out the handbook. And I can talk about our process for that and how that's reviewed with everybody, but that's only if you all have questions about that. But you pull that back out again. All schools have a referral form that aligns to the handbook that has the offenses in there and then the consequences. And then you're talking with the student about it based on the evidence and what's there. Sometimes something may come through a referral and it's discipline, and that's what it is. But it leaves being a conversation and it's not discipline that's recorded in the student record. Sometimes it's a warning and you're talking through and then you're making the note on the form and that's going to the student. But copies go to student, and then students, most of these students are minors and they have parents and guardians, and we're obligated to inform them as well. So there's that two-part process as well. So the administrators are talking with them. And sometimes things, like I said, it can change in the midst of that as you learn more information. Something may be reported as discipline, but it might not end up as discipline, and as administrators learn more information. And that's for the more minor, most of the offenses that are in discipline, in the matrix.
Member Hodge?
Thank you. My question is, okay, when you say that it's distributed to the students when they first, enroll in school, isn't that part of the handbook? Because the only reason why I ask that question is, I wouldn't want to register my child in the school and the first thing you give them is a disciplinary thing saying, hey, this is what happens if you get in trouble. So I'm wondering, is it part of the handbook when you say that it was given to the students in the beginning?
Thank you, Board Member Hodge. Yes, so there's two pieces. There's enrollment, and there's two pieces to enrollment. The counselor's going out to middle schools and they're having those meetings, and there's that piece where you're talking through expectations. But typically, parents enroll students. So they're the ones going through all of the paperwork, which you all, it's a lot. And I think in many cases, they just feel like they're repeating information, address, all this, sign. When this talks about the beginning of the school year, what you see up there, what we have is around week 3, because when school starts, there's a lot of schedule changes and movement, and we wait for everything to settle. You also have transfers and people coming in, so we wait for those 10 days to come in. Week 3, we do a district video. Megan Sterling and I, along with Warren Cole, he films that, and we go over the student handbook. At that point, parents are notified electronically through our student information system that they get a push through with pop into your parent view account. We are going over the student handbook today. Here's a copy of it. Just accept that you have your copy. Students also receive it in their student view account in Synergy, but they're getting the full video. But parents also have access to the video. The video is on our website as well. And then for late enrolled students, you can sit down and have the conversation and go through that. And some schools actually take a moment where they show them the video on the website so they can see that, and then just talk through it as well. We have the handbook available electronically, but it is also, the schools have hard copies as well if families need those.
Okay, thank you. That solves it, because I was hoping that we didn't have something just separate saying, hey, you know what, if this is what's going to happen to you if you get in trouble. I do like the fact, Vice President Barraza, that you did put it in that at the time of disciplinary action, because it may have been a while between the time that they looked at that handbook and that. I agree with you with that. I was just a little worried that we're going to just give them something like a disciplinary, I don't want our kids to first hand they come off as, yeah, hey, welcome to Tempe Union, but here's what happens to you if you get in trouble. So I just want to make sure it was all in the book. So thank you for that.
Member James, do you have any?
No, I think that this addition is a really necessary one. It just, as everyone's kind of reiterated, I think most, our kids don't come to school to get into trouble. And when we go through those handbooks, you're not thinking, ooh, when I get expelled, that's not what our culture of our schools is. But when things do happen, our kids need to be treated in a way that they're listened to and that they know how to communicate with adults, and that the adults are also taking that time with the students to say, hey, I know that you have rights here as well, and I want to help you understand them. So it's not a punitive thing. It's a conversation, and I think this is a really positive step toward the culture we're trying to create of respect between our students and our educators. So I really appreciate this, Vice President Barraza.
Thank you so much, Member James. And I echo everyone's comments. Thank you so much for helping essentially codify it into our processes and including that key language. Pursuant to board policy, this is a first read, so it'll come back for a second read at our following meeting. But before we move on to the next item, are there any additional comments? Vice President Barraza?
Okay. Yes, first, thank you, Sasha, for that wonderful breakdown of the process. And I'm sure we'll have more study sessions or information sessions. That way we can get the other board members up to par with them, and I really appreciate it. Also, I just want to reiterate that this isn't something we aren't doing right now. You really nailed on it that we are doing it. I think for the purpose of what the board does, it's more about putting it into a policy so we can work towards that mindset. And I think board member James really nailed on what I'm trying to establish with it. Now, we already give them the information, and so I really just am trying to get that conversation started again. That accountability brought onto the students, saying these are your rights, but with rights comes responsibility. You have to do these things if that's the route you want to go. It also has just the conversation of discipline and what happened and why, and moving forward. I think you nailed it perfectly, Board Member James. And I greatly appreciate Board Member Hodge, what you expressed, because that is a right mindset. We don't want to have students coming into the school district thinking we're heavy-handed. Here's the first thing we want you to acknowledge. That's a very good point. And I think Dr. Mendeville was really good on being able to hit on that, because he wanted to make sure what I was conveying that was more in line with that, and making sure we're not stepping into those aspects. And the administrative stuff is obviously where we can really lean on you to help us understand how the policies get implemented. And, again, Board Member Montero, that student perspective is always important. So I really appreciate that. Anytime you bring it into our conversations, a student lens, I think we're better for it. So thank you for your comments on that. That's all I have, and thank you, President Garcia, for the work on the agenda and getting it on here first read with Dr. Mendeville and having those discussions. I really appreciate that. I feel like we move together, so thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Barraza. I really appreciate it. Next, we have Business Services, Superintendent's 2021-2022 Budget Recommendation. Dr. Mendeville.
Sorry about that. President Garcia, Vice President Barraza, members of the board, executive team, I am recommending that the governing board approve the superintendent's budget recommendation, which I wholeheartedly approve the Budget Advisory Committee's recommendation. So that's the business services action item. You had it thoroughly and elaborately and thoughtfully explained by Mrs. Muehlman's, and I wholeheartedly agree with the recommendations from the BOC, and that is my recommendation to you for your approval, and that this will require action tonight.
Thank you so much, Superintendent Mendenville. Dr. Mendenville. All right, board members, I move approval for business services, item 1, Superintendent 2022 budget recommendation. May I have a second?
I second.
Thank you so much. Any discussion on this item? Just to make sure. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Ayes have it. 5-0. Thank you so much. Next, we have J1, financial report through May 12, 2021. Dr. Mendenville.
President Garcia, members of the board, executive team, this item is for information only. I don't know that we've had any, if there's any comments or that Mrs. Muehlman would like to make, but this is just for information only, and our financial status through May 12th.
Thank you so much. Next, we have item J2, public participation at governing board meetings.
If the district's benchmark metrics are the moderate range for community transmission as defined by the Maricopa County Department of Public Health and Centers for Disease Control before June 16, governing board meeting, the Benedict Education Center boardroom where we are here, where we're housed today, will be open to the public during the call to the public only. In order to observe guidance from state and federal officials regarding social distancing, the governing boardroom will be closed to the public at all other times. At the appropriate time for public comment, individuals will be allowed into the governing boardroom one at a time to deliver their comments. And note, masks are required when on district property and will be required to deliver an in-person public comment. If the district's benchmark metrics are in the substantial or high range, as they currently are in the substantial range for community transmission as reported by the Maricopa County Department of Public Health on June 10, then the district will continue with its current process for accepting emailed public comments at the June 16 governing board meeting and reassess the metrics before the July 14 governing board meeting. The meeting will be streamed live on the district's YouTube channel.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mendenville. All right, board members, we have to return back to public comment. There is one that was left out. So Dr. Wow, I'm so tired.
Wilson.
Dr. Wilson, if you may please read the public comment, please.
Thank you, President Garcia. Dear Dr. Mendenville and governing board members, you all know me and my passion for Compadre Academy. I am absolutely heartbroken of the decisions that have been made about moving Compadre over to Marcos. I believe they are not in the best interest of the students and their families. My name is Susan Manning, and I am a Tempe Union teacher, a student council advisor, a Title I parent liaison, and an overall fighter of what is best for our students. For students, our students. We have sat and watched as our school that we have worked so hard to create has been completely dismantled and shaken us to our core. I truly believe that you cannot pick up a school that has such an amazing connection and simply move it. However, since the decisions have been made and I have made my stance that I think it is an absolute disgrace to our students that we love, I must address another issue. At the beginning of the pandemic, when we went online, we handed out computers to students. From the standpoint of an outsider to the process in which this occurred, it was an absolute mess. Students went to different schools than their own to pick them up. There was little to no thought about who actually needed them, and students in lower income areas did not receive the same opportunities as some of our sister schools. With that being said, there was very little mentioned about the return process and what would happen if there was an issue. Students were given a vague form for insurance, and many did not understand. They were not given a choice to bring home a computer. This was now a requirement. The very least our district could do is be responsible for the computers. Now that it is the end of the year and we are asking kids to return them, we are running into issues. For example, the kid whose water bottle leaked in their backpack because our drinking fountains are off now has to pay $500 for a computer that, first off, isn't worth $500. Yes, I have done my research. And second, they are a low-income student who is on free and reduced lunch and can't afford $500. This leaves the students with very little choices. We will not give them their transcripts without paying. I have checked into funds within the school and was told there are none, and there are no discounts for free and reduced lunch students. Even if they had paid the insurance, it doesn't cover the cost. They are still responsible for at least $250. If a student leaves our district because the alternative school is no longer there, and they choose a new alternative school and we refuse to give them their transcripts because they can't afford $500. We now have a high school senior dropout because of the poor planning on the part of the district. This is one example of many. These are not students being irresponsible. These are teenagers doing.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wilson. As a general reminder to the community and the public, the governing board is limited to directing Dr. Mendeville to follow up. So if you may please follow up, Dr. Mendeville. All right, thank you so much. And thank you, Susan Manning, for writing in the comment. Next, we will move to communications from the governing board members. All right. Board Member Hodge.
You guys know me so well. I'm going to start off with my quote by Dr. Wilson. Your education is a dress rehearsal for life that is yours to lead, and it's by Nora Ephraim. And I want to say to all the graduates, congratulations. This is going to be, you came through a pandemic and you graduated in a year that was one of the toughest years for adults to have. I know it was hard on the children. I want to say thank you to all the teachers and staff and community, all the work and effort that you put in for this year. This has been a tough year for everyone. I appreciate it. I started off as president. It was a hard year, and I know Brian came in as president underneath a hard year. So under leadership, I know it's hard. So it's hard for everyone. But we as Tempe Union came out ahead, and I am just grateful and blessed to be in this district with it. Also, before I get into what I've done, I got to do a shout out to my son who graduated from NYU. I am so excited. He graduated. He was a McClintock Charger graduate 4 years ago, and now he's graduating from NYU and is on his way to law school. So, Jason, congratulations, and I love you. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you what I did. Thank you. I'm a proud mom. I went to Compadre Beats the Odds. It's always important for me for Beats the Odds because not only is it because I'm a board member, but I'm also a board member for the TAP program. It's very personal to me, and their stories, I get to know the ladies and gentlemen who's in the program and their children. So I just want to say congratulations to every one of them. I went to the Compadre Carnival, happened a couple of days, 2 Fridays ago, and they dunked me, so I'm excited. I got dunked in the water by the principal at Compadre, so she threw the ball and she knocked me in. Also did a Compadre Awards Assembly. It was very important. They called me and asked me to do it because they had 2 seniors who will not be able to attend graduation, and they downed the cap and gown, and I downed my black one, and we took pictures for the family so they can have those pictures to keep with them. Even though they won't be able to participate in graduation, they will have those pictures. I did a wonderful tour with one of my favorite people, Nate, at Corona. It's always a great time at Corona when you do the tour and see all the wonderful things happen on the campus. I had a tri-district investment committee meeting with one and only our truest Diane Milnes, who's on there with me, and it's a fun time to have that with the tri-district. We had Circles of Champion, that's our Best Buddy program. We have the Best Buddy program at 2 of our schools. They had their big time like celebration. It's their prom and everything, so we had a great time. Dr. Mendeville is a Best Buddy champion along with myself in the district, and it looks like Dr. Wilson will be our next Best Buddy champion that will be doing it next, so I already signed her up. And I went to Tempe High School, had a great time at Tempe High School. I did, on one night on Friday, Brian Gulliver and we did the arts display. They had an arts showcase. We had a band concert, and we had a dance recital all at the same time. So we kind of bounced around to all 3 of them in that night, and it was a phenomenal time. I watched the Tempe Diablos Excellence Awards Education. I want to thank everyone who was, congratulations to all the winners, but also congratulations to all the people who actually, was awarded and participated and was looked at to be a winner. I believe everybody's a winner. And last but not least, I did 2 track and fields at 2 different high schools and some baseball. And I think I'm done. And also, everybody else have a wonderful rest of your summer. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Member Montero.
Thank you. First, I just want to echo what Board Member Hodge said and congratulate all of our graduates this year, but not just all of our graduates, but all of our students for making it through, an incredibly difficult year. Learning in a pandemic is not easy, whether in person, online, they all come with their unique challenges. But you got through it. And so I wanted to say, I'm sure everyone in this room is proud of you. So congratulations to all of you for making it through the year. You deserve the summer. So make sure you have a good summer. I want to give a quick update on our work with the Social Emotional Wellness Ad Hoc Committee. Since our last board meeting, we've had 2 meetings, one last Wednesday and one today before this meeting. We've had a lot of really great discussion. It's a great group. We've got representation from all of our schools with students, teachers, families, community partners, administration. And so we've done a lot of work around our student wellness policy, and I'm excited to get the recommendation to the board coming up here shortly. And to complement some of that work, Dr. Mendeville and I visited a couple of our schools to talk specifically about what our individual sites are doing for social emotional wellness, because I think it's important that we recognize that all of our campuses have unique needs, and they address those in different ways. And so it's good to see kind of how each of our campuses are addressing the social emotional needs of their students, and how we can elevate those at the district level to make sure that we have meet the needs equitably of all of our students moving forward. I also wanted to say congratulations to all of those. From the Beat the Odds ceremony, I was sad I couldn't make it. Our ad hoc meeting was running late, so I couldn't make it there. But I wanted to say congratulations. And I also wanted to congratulate all of those who earned the CTE certificate for the 2021 school year. So that's all I have.
Thank you so much, Member Montero. Member James.
Yes, thank you. I attended the Beat the Odds evening, and it was fantastic. I had actually had the opportunity when I was at Tempe High to perform at Beat the Odds at the district office with my quartet. So that was a long time ago. It was really nice to be back and to see the students and their beautiful babies, and just you could see the support and love that they have received in this program. And so I think we need to definitely recognize all the educators involved that help the students make it through. It's a fantastic program. I also stopped in at Compadre. They were having their banner decoration day. They were eating, and they line the school with banners made by every single senior. So as they're coming to the school, everybody sees these beautiful works of art. It was really incredible to see what they come up with, really creative kids. One of the students, Miranda, had knitted a beanie for every staff member and was giving them out. It was really lovely. And I got one, a really cute purple one from her. It's really sweet. I was able to attend the Desert Vista Choir concert and Mountain Point Orchestra concert. They were both wonderful, and just seeing music made live in person again has been really fantastic. I've missed it, as I think we all have. And then I watched the art show that we got sent a YouTube video, and oh my goodness, these students are so incredibly talented. And I really appreciate that the teachers have gone to the efforts to put this video together so that we can still all see and acknowledge what our students are creating during this time. And I think we really, as a district, should be grateful for the fine arts that we do have. And to all of our fine arts teachers, our kids are going to need the arts so much as they come back in August. And I know that was my safe space when I was a kid in school. So I'm grateful that they've had that this year. And I look forward to seeing those programs thrive and grow when we return. And finally, of course, congratulations to our graduates, and thank you to all of our teachers that have made it through this year, and not just made it through, but really, really excelled and learned new things in technology, and been so open to working in completely different modalities. And it's not been easy, but our teachers have been phenomenal. And I know a lot of our students haven't just, again, gone through, but they've thrived. Some of them have really thrived in this environment. And it's really because of the teachers and staff that are putting that extra effort in and creating the environment that our students need. And to be able to do that virtually, it speaks so highly of our district. And so thank you to everyone who's made this year successful despite all the odds we've kind of faced. And so congratulations, graduates. Thank you, teachers. Take that time off and enjoy your summer.
Thank you so much, Member James. Vice President Barraza?
You're absolutely right, Board Member James. The arts are, to me, something we're going to have to lean heavily on. It's expression, and we're going to need to embrace our self-expression in some medium this coming year. So I'm looking forward to the creativity of the district and our staff, I'm excited to see that. I'd like to start first by also thanking gifts and donations from our community. It's very important, the community does so much behind the scenes and are in fact part of our committees, and not only fundraising and working at the district and volunteering, but the donations at any level always help, our students. They go directly to students. So I really appreciate that. And with that, I'd like to thank Kroger. They donated $285.44 to Marcos Denisa, $150 from Adra Masche to McClintock High School, $20 Desert Vista from Zaying La, $16 Desert Vista, Tricia Davidson, $15 Corona del Sol from Robin McCain, at $10 to Marcos Denisa from an anonymous donor. Gavin and Susan Woods to Corona del Sol. They donated 9 speakers, estimated value of $1,850. They're JBL, Eon 1500, and M Pro. They're really great speakers, so I just want to thank them for that contribution. I'm sure we can use those for a lot of things. And again, every dollar helps because it's a fee being paid, or it's help towards a meal program or an item. So every dollar matters, so thank you once again. I'd also like to say that I was at the Beat the Odds celebration. As a teen parent growing up in the district, it was very, very emotional for me, always is. I really love it. Those kids have so much inspiration, and they're true leaders. They really are. And I wish everyone had an opportunity to hear their stories, and I wish we can continually echo them. They're driving long distances to come to our school from out of the district, over an hour each way. There are students that rode buses, maintaining their family dynamics. There's just so much on their shoulders, and they did it so well, and in such a difficult time. I can't thank the staff enough. And I was walking around thanking the staff, just jealous, because I was letting them know that they never have to worry whether they made a difference. It's right there in front of all of us, and they're building our community. And I'm very thankful for all of our staff and district members that take that initiative, because when I was a teen parent, it was a very different situation. And what I saw was a great community, not only just a safety net, but a way to build you up and move you forward. So bravos to the district and the staff. I'd also like to thank Margaret Honeycutt and Councilmember Robin Arredondo Savage for staying on with our Employee Benefit Trust. They are valuable assets to the trust. They're doing a lot of work right now, and a lot of it will come in front of a board. So I won't go into details about their work. We'll have to vote on it. But just know that the trust is just doing a remarkable job, and they're really diving into all the details. I'd also like to thank or say congrats to Shayla McKenzie, who's one of the students here tonight, and I just saw everyone's head turn towards her. She's hiding behind the monitor. And, you know, congratulations, and Walter Cronkite, and congratulations on all the awards and experiences. I think it's remarkable, the resume you're building up already, and I really, really look forward to seeing your name on various productions. I really believe in You Got It. I had the opportunity to go filming with Marcos Denisa with Shayla, and she was directing some of the scenes, and it was just remarkable just to watch how confident you were. So it's great. Looking forward to it. And I'd also like to say congrats to Sydney Stormat. I hope I pronounced that right. I was at the Valley Metro bus celebration that day. She just blew it away. It was such a great design. I can't see how she couldn't get it, couldn't win. I believe she also took second place last year as well. So this is a great follow-up, and I believe she's a senior. Is she a senior, Dr. So what a great cherry on top of the year for her. So it's exciting. I've seen the bus all over the community as far as North Scottsdale near Cave Creek. So it's getting around. I'd also just like to say congrats to the Tempe Diablos Excellence in Education staff members. It's always remarkable to see how many staff members we have winning these awards, and their stories. And I don't think the community ever gets to see the details of everyone and what they do, especially in the classroom. There's just so much enthusiasm, so much energy. And it makes me feel great to finish off the year with such a high note. So congrats to all of them, and that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you so much, Vice President Barraza. And I'll end also with congratulating our class of 2021. You made it through an incredible, tough year, and you are all incredibly resilient and have powerful stories to share. But, we want to celebrate you, and we will be celebrating you tomorrow. And also wanted to thank all of our staff, teachers in the district for a really tough year. But, we all were able to get through it together, and I think at the end of the day, that's what makes it really meaningful for all of us. So thank you all. I also want to congratulate our Beat the Odds graduates. This event is always so powerful, because it truly goes to the heart of what we all do, and it speaks volumes about the staff and teachers over at Compadre that really go above and beyond to help all of our students truly succeed at every possible level. and continue to thrive even beyond when they're with us. So thank you all so much and congratulations. Also wanted to congratulate our Tempe Diablos Excellence in Education Awards. I'm super grateful and privileged to know many, if not all on this list, but particularly I want to do a shout out to Karen Crane, who was my supervisor when I was working at McClintock with Avid. And, you know, she was very inspiring and empowered not only me, but the students she taught and the program that she ran. So congratulations, Karen Crane, on Teacher of the Year. Next, I also want to congratulate Shayla McKenzie. You know, love having you here, and it's really powerful to see such a skillful and very thoughtful and innovative person being here with us. I cannot wait to see all the different things that you'll accomplish, but this is certainly the start, so I can't wait to see that. And congratulations, Shayla. And also congratulations to Cindy Stormont, Kimberly Nunez, and Reagan Guzman. You know, y'all are a powerhouse. Y'all keep going and winning these awards and recognition. I keep telling friends and family to look out for your bus. So I told them, if you are in a safe spot, take a photo and send it, because we'd love to see it. But not when you are driving. And then quick report back, I have the privilege of serving on the Arizona School Board Association Board of Directors, and we had a retreat this last weekend, and it was really nice to get together with other school board members and really look at how we can serve all of our students statewide. But Tempe Union was a highlight during that retreat, and it's always a proud moment for me to really talk about all of our successes, including our Desert Vista peer-to-peer mentoring program, among many, many, many others. So just wanted to get that report. And then I will end with, even though we're towards the end of the month, recognizing Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month for the contributions and influence AAPI families have contributed to culture and history and achievements of the U.S., but also in Tempe Union. So happy AAPI month. Ends on May 31st. So hopefully we'll be able to get to celebrate with some folks after the end of the year. But that is all I have. I will not skip the communications from superintendent and executive team, like I forgot last time. Dr. Mendeville.
No, I thank you, President Garcia. I just want to do a shout out to our seniors who have been looking forward to this day, well, tomorrow actually. And we were able to make it happen in person, and everyone working together, families and students and staff together, we made this happen. So I think all of us are looking forward to celebrating our seniors and all the good things that they'll be doing post-graduation. So go class of 2021.
Yay! Thank you so much, Dr. Mendeville. All right, our next regular meeting is June 16, 2021. I move to adjourn this meeting. May I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, ayes have it. 5-0, meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.